It's over. For real this time. The war that shook hip-hop to its core. The feud that had the entire culture divided. The endless debates. The leaked verses. The subliminals. The petty shots. It's done. And there's no question left in the room. Kendrick Lamar is the greatest rapper of all time. Not just this generation. Not just right now, of all time. That's a big statement. But after everything that's gone down, after the smoke cleared and the noise faded, that's what's left standing. A truth that no one can deny. The saga is officially over, and the crown sits heavy, but it's sitting where it belongs. Let's rewind, because this wasn't just another rap beef. This was a cultural moment, the kind that makes people remember where they were when it happened. It started like a storm, subtle at first, then suddenly thunder cracking across the whole sky. Kendrick Lamar and Drake, two of the biggest artists in the world, went head-to-head, and the entire world stopped to watch. But this wasn't about charts or awards. This was about truth, about who really runs the game when it's stripped down to skill, pen, and heart. And by the time it was done, the answer was clear. See, for years people tried to box Kendrick in. The quiet kid from Compton who made thoughtful music. The conscious rapper who'd rather talk about pain than parties. They said he wasn't commercial enough, not flashy enough, not mainstream. Drake was the opposite. He had the hits, the headlines, the image, the brand. For a long time, he seemed untouchable. Every time someone tried to test him, he found a way to smooth it over with a hit record or a clever line. He was the Teflon Don of modern rap. Nothing stuck. But what Kendrick brought wasn't just another diss. It was a mirror, a brutal, unfiltered reflection of everything the industry had ignored about Drake for years. When Kendrick dropped, Not Like Us, it wasn't just a song, it was a weapon. The beat hit like a celebration, but the lyrics were surgical. It was the sound of truth dressed as a club anthem. People were dancing while Drake's empire was burning in real time. You could hear the streets erupt from South Central to Toronto. Everyone knew what was happening. Kendrick didn't just win a rap battle. He shifted the balance of power in hip-hop. And he did it without breaking a sweat. Drake tried to clap back, of course. That's what he does. He sent shots. He threw subliminals. He posted, deleted, reposted. He tried everything to steer the narrative. But every move he made just made it worse. It felt like he was fighting a ghost. Someone who wasn't even playing the same game anymore. Kendrick was silent, calm, patient, like a man who already knew how the story would end. And that silence was deadly, because when he finally spoke again, every word hit like thunder. The thing about Kendrick is, he doesn't rap for trends. He raps for legacy. Every verse he writes feels like a piece of scripture, crafted with purpose. He doesn't waste a single syllable. That's what separates him. When he speaks, it feels like history is being written in real time. That's why this battle felt different. It wasn't about ego. It was about truth. It wasn't about being popular. It was about being real. By the time the world realized what had happened, Drake was already bleeding in every direction. His credibility, his reputation, his dominance. You could feel the shift. The same people who once called him untouchable were suddenly quiet. The memes came, the jokes flew, but underneath all that noise was a serious reckoning. Hip-hop was finally asking itself, what really matters again? Is it charts, or is it craft? Is it image, or is it authenticity? And Kendrick stood at the center of that question like a prophet who already knew the answer. Kendrick Lamar's victory wasn't just about bars. It was about principle. He fought for something bigger than himself. He fought for the soul of hip-hop. In a time when the game had turned into marketing, when artists were more worried about streaming numbers than substance, Kendrick reminded everyone what this culture was built on. Hunger, pain, storytelling, and truth. You could hear it in every breath he took on those records. The rawness, the emotion, the spirit of someone who grew up fighting for every inch. And when people talk about greatness, they usually point to stats. How many Grammys? How many hits? How many platinum plaques? But what Kendrick proved is that greatness isn't measured by trophies. It's measured by impact. When he dropped To Pimp a Butterfly, he changed how people thought about black art. When he released Damn, he blurred the line between the streets and spirituality. And when he stepped into this war with Drake, he did what few ever dared to do. He risked everything for truth. It wasn't just a musical win. It was a spiritual one. Because even people who weren't hardcore rap fans could feel it. Kendrick's energy connected deeper than charts. It hit souls. Teachers were breaking down his lyrics in classrooms. Activists quoted his bars during protests. Kids from the hood saw him and believed again that talent could still break through without selling out. That's what makes him the greatest. He's not just a rapper. He's a voice, a storyteller, a leader who never asked for the title, but earned it anyway. Meanwhile, Drake's story took a different turn. The lawsuit against UMG, the interviews that sounded defensive, the endless online debates. It all started to sound like noise. The more he talked, the more he looked like a man trying to convince himself he was still in control. But deep down, even his own fans knew. The magic was gone. The confidence that used to fill the room when he dropped an album wasn't there anymore. Kendrick had taken that away. Not by attacking him personally, but by exposing the cracks in the illusion. You can tell a lot about a man by how he handles defeat. Drake handled it with denial. Kendrick handled victory with silence. That's the difference between fame and greatness. Fame needs to be seen. Greatness speaks for itself. And now that the dust has settled, even Drake's biggest supporters have to admit it. Kendrick didn't just win a beef. He cemented his place in history. But what makes this story so wild is how natural it all felt. Nothing Kendrick did seemed forced. He didn't overdo the interviews, didn't flood the internet with explanations. He let the art breathe. That's what real confidence looks like. You don't have to scream when the world is already listening. His calmness during the chaos told you everything. He wasn't chasing validation. He was living in his truth. Think about that moment when the whole crowd at the BET Awards was chanting, "Not like us." The energy was different. It wasn't just fans hyping up a song. It was a cultural release. Like years of frustration boiling over. Like hip-hop finally remembering what it was supposed to feel like again. That song became more than a diss. It became a declaration. A statement that authenticity still matters. That lyricism still matters. That storytelling still matters. Kendrick Lamar is the greatest not because he said it, but because he proved it. Every move he makes is intentional. Every record is timeless. Every verse has weight. You can't fake that. You can't buy that. It comes from a place most people never reach. From pain. From purpose. From being misunderstood and still choosing to stand tall anyway. And what's crazy is he's not done. Even after everything, after the tours, the awards, the historic moments, he still moves like a student of the game. Still hungry. Still sharp. That's why people respect him. Because while everyone else is chasing the next viral hit, Kendrick is building monuments. And that's what real legacy looks like. So yeah, the saga's over. The arguments, the debates, the what-ifs, they don't matter anymore. Because at the end of the day, the truth is clear. Drake will always be a star. He'll always have his hits, his fan base, his accolades. But Kendrick Lamar? He's something different. He's immortal now. His words live beyond the charts. His name lives beyond the moment. He became what every rapper dreams of being. Untouchable, respected, and real. When people look back on this era years from now, they won't talk about the lawsuits or the social media drama. They'll talk about that moment when Kendrick Lamar stood alone at the top and reminded everyone what greatness really looks like. They'll talk about how one man from Compton carried the weight of an entire culture, and made it look effortless. This saga is officially over. Kendrick Lamar didn't just win a battle, he won history. And from here on out, every rapper who steps up to the mic will have to measure themselves against him. Because whether the world wants to admit it or not, the truth is simple and undeniable. Kendrick Lamar is the greatest rapper of all time. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.